So are we beginning to see the Middle Eastern giants come to the recognition that Bitcoin could be the next global reserve currency? Don't get me wrong, I get it. That's a pretty bold statement. But again, for 50 years, these guys would only buy US Treasury bonds and they would only sell their oil in US dollars. What's changed? Why are we starting to see headlines like this that show that, hey, hang on a minute, maybe it's not just Jamie Dimon doing a Bitcoin backflip like he recently has. Again, Bitcoin is a fraud. Oh, what price did we buy that MicroStrategy? We're now seeing Saudi Arabia's central bank taking indirect Bitcoin exposure through MicroStrategy. Now, I do think this is absolutely fascinating. And I just don't think this is going to be the last Middle Eastern announcement when it comes to Bitcoin. We can see here, the Saudi central bank just revealed it owns MicroStrategy. Ooh, what comes next? What is going to happen? Well, we can also see on the same day, a 13F was filed. The Abu Dhabi Sovereign Wealth Fund disclosed owning 8 million shares of IBIT. Let's put that into perspective. I get it. Big numbers. That is $400 million. Pretty big. That is pretty big. That is for sure. And again, they're only increasing their exposure every quarter. They're not selling. Many of the Bitcoin bears will have you think that, hang on a minute, it's all over. The bull run is over. Well, it's not. This here is the official filing from the Saudi central bank. Have a look at whose name is highlighted there. It's pretty interesting. That is very interesting. I would nearly call that a backflip. That is a hell of a backflip, don't you think? I think that's a very interesting backflip. I reckon Rob in the chat agrees with me there. All right. Who else agrees with me in the chat? Well, I'm beginning to think that these oil producers, who are some of the largest oil producers in the world, slowly adopting Bitcoin, could be some serious signal here. So again, it's not just the UAE adopting Bitcoin today. It's also Oman. Who forgot about that? $80 billion giant. It's also, I apologize in advance if I butchered that name, Kyrgyzstan also adopted Bitcoin way out there in the Middle East. And it looks as if Saudi Arabia plans on increasing their investment into Bitcoin mining nearly year after year after year. Because this is their projections of what they're going to be investing into the Bitcoin mining market between 2018 and 2030. Looks like it's an extra $50 to $60 to $70 million every single year. Now, considering this is coming from literally some of the largest pools of money in the entire world, we really need to start paying attention because we know America is going to be launching a sovereign wealth fund in the not too distant future. It's coming. The orange man's already said it. And guess who's it? Again, we've said Howard Lutnick is in charge of that. Howard Lutnick, 40% of his personal portfolio is in MicroStrategy. He's as bullish as anyone on the news. And then we've got the big orange man, the man who has said, I want every single Bitcoin to be mined, minted, and made in America. These guys are going to stand up a sovereign wealth fund, and I reckon you would be crazy to think that they're not going to want to buy more Bitcoin than their competitors. And you'd also be crazy. Again, you're not crazy. I'm the crazy one here. But again, I strongly believe America's, look, I mean, they're the greatest country in the world. Let's be frank here. Let's be honest here. They are the global reserve currency holder. They are the current global dominant empire around the world. And I think there's a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, and they're going to want to have the largest sovereign wealth fund. How big is that going to be? Let's have a look. These are the largest sovereign wealth funds in the world. The Norwegian sovereign wealth funds, 1.3 trillion. China, they have a $1.351 trillion sovereign wealth fund. And then you can see 4 sovereign wealth funds from the Middle East coming in at 993 billion, 801 billion big ones, $700 billion. That's how big the public investment fund in Saudi Arabia is. And then we've got the Qatar Investment Authority coming in at $450 billion. Now, if we really think America is not going to want to buy or accumulate a sovereign wealth fund bigger than some of these Middle Eastern sovereign wealth funds? I've got something to sell you. And I think Pascal makes a great point in the chat here as well. Canada is slow to adopt. Could not agree more. Linda is in the Rumble chat. Hello, Linda from the Rumble chat. I'm even in the Rumble chat apparently. Now, Linda's got a question here. Now, again, there's not many of you guys on Rumble, so I'm going to answer Linda's chat from Rumble first. Buying ETFs and MSTR isn't like buying spot BTC. Are they buying Bitcoin? So MicroStrategy is squatting on 550,000 Bitcoin. They are essentially a Bitcoin proxy. But no, Linda, buying ETFs and MSTR is not like buying spot Bitcoin, if I'm understanding that question correctly. When you have spot Bitcoin, you actually have the Bitcoin in your own self-custody. You actually hold the thing yourself. Very different to an ETFs. ETFs, you don't hold the real thing, sadly. Okay, when you hold an ETF, you may as well not hold any Bitcoin, to be honest. You've only really got paper promises that an ETF or a MicroStrategy will return your funds in the future. This is why I always encourage you guys to go and buy the real thing, get a hardware wallet, and then also make sure you take that Bitcoin off the exchange. Very, very important caveat there. And this is, again, I think some of these sovereign wealth funds, I reckon they're probably doing that. I reckon they're probably doing exactly that. I reckon they're taking their Bitcoin off the exchanges. And I don't think they're trusting Coinbase. I would be surprised if they're trusting Coinbase. I'd be very, very surprised if they're trusting Coinbase. Again, pretty much the message I always like to drill into your heads here on the channel is don't trust anyone. Take self-custody of your Bitcoin. Again, I think the best place to buy your Bitcoin is at the Bitcoin well, okay? They not only cater to retail. Again, if you buy Bitcoin on the Bitcoin well, they're going to give you tokens to play the Bitcoin wishing well. You throw your tokens into the wishing well, you go into the draw to win 1 million Satoshis. That is 1% of a Bitcoin. Again, you can sign up with a Bitcoin well in the description down below in today's video. And once you've bought your Bitcoin on the Bitcoin well, I always encourage you guys, put it in a hardware wallet. Again, doesn't matter what hardware wallet you get. They're all great. I always get asked for recommendations from hardware wallets. I've got tons of them. I've got cold cards. I've got Bitboxes. I've got Jades. I've got passports. I've got them all. I really do have them all. Just go get your hands on anything. I don't have a hardware wallet to sell you. I think they're all great. But what I will say is when it comes to backing up your hardware wallet, there's some better solutions than others. That's of course because titanium is superior to stainless steel. This is why I always encourage you guys to check out Stampseed. They sell titanium plates that do survive house fires, that do survive floods, hurricanes, and absolutely everything life throws at it. Okay, it's very important that we get our Bitcoin 12 or 24 words stamped into titanium. Okay, very, very important. Why is that? Well, that is because sometimes stainless steel will not do the job. Okay, we need to have our Bitcoin backed up on titanium. Again, you guys can get 15% off anything you want to buy from Stampseed with that promo code Luke15. So take advantage of that. Literally, as I say it, my boy All Night Hider chucks a link in the chat for you guys. Should also be in the description of today's show. Okay, now, Benny Hanna. My man, Ben, says, I engraved my seeds in a gold bar, but it melted in a house fire. Melted in a house fire. What a shame. Speaking of gold, I do love, don't get me wrong. I think gold is great. I think there are lots of people who watch the channel who invest in gold. A lot of people ask me about gold. I think gold's a great second best option behind Bitcoin. Again, I have people who say, I don't want to put 100% of my net worth in gold. That's cool. That's great. Good on you. But again, what I will say is I'd be cautious having 100% of your net worth in gold because as we can see, I found this today. Scientists just created fake gold using lead. Let's not forget what happened when scientists were able to artificially create diamonds. Naturally, if you can artificially create something, you can increase the supply of it. What happens when you increase the supply of something? Value goes down the toilet, okay? It's not a good thing. Okay, this is why we're all so bullish on Bitcoin, because there is nothing more scarce than Bitcoin in the world, unless and except for your time. Again, we get what, 80 years if we're lucky. I drink too much coffee, so I probably won't get that many years. But what I will say is that with your limited time, 100%, go to some conferences. Rob makes a great point in the chat. I was thinking of going to BTC Prague. You'll see me there. You'll be able to find me at BTC Prague. I'm very excited for that one. And they actually let me in the country over there in the Czech Republic. Who knows for how much longer? Depending upon how much anti-government propaganda I spread on this YouTube channel for you guys, and depending upon how many silly things I say on a live stream in front of the 660 one of you guys on the live stream. Nearly got an unlucky number. Again, if you are enjoying the live stream, we are happy to have you. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you do like these crazy rants from an Australian, I'm going to be very careful what I say. With this crazy Australian, again, we'd appreciate you guys are destroying the like button down below. We're told that helps with the YouTube algorithm. So again, thank you so much to everyone who's tuned in. If you do want to learn a little bit more about the exact percentage I think you need to retire, I actually filmed a video and published that puppy yesterday, where I had a look at what I think is the best portfolio allocation to Bitcoin for someone in their 20s, 30s, and 50s. And again, if you're 70 or 40, you can do the extrapolation, okay? I will make you a video just for your age group in the not too distant future. But after this live stream's finished, I'm going to put a link to that video somewhere around there. And you will be surprised because I don't actually think having 100% of your money or time allocated to Bitcoin is the best thing to do with your money or your time in any scenario. Doesn't matter what age you are. I know, controversial take. Go and check out the video before you blow me up in the comments down below. Again, the link to that video will be somewhere around there. And with all that said, thank you so much to everyone who tuned in.